Hello, everyone. If you've read the title, you know I plan to redesign Murderdome's characters. I will specifically be redesigning N, J, V, Uzi, and Sin. While I do not expect people to come to this conclusion, this isn't out of contempt for the original designs. This is just for fun. I enjoy designing characters, and I thought this would be a fun thing to do. So let's get started. N is the fan favorite after all. I figured it'd only be appropriate to start with him. Throughout most of the designs, you're probably not going to see a lot of change in their clothes and stuff like that. That's mainly because I felt like they were pretty good considering where they were, the snowy, desolate planet. What I kind of wanted to do is make their robot designs a little more plausible. What I mean by that is a gun and a chainsaw and a sword isn't fitting in the same arm, so I thought it'd be cool to give him another pair because I liked that. I think it's cool. Also, I'm sorry if it's frustrating to look at. I know his arms kind of remain uneven, for a little while. I promise I fix that in the end of the speed paint. And I also plan to explain the little line you see in the middle of his face because that's my favorite part about this. I loved coming up with that. But as you can see, I added more of the caution tape to him. Obviously, he has an extra pair of arms and kind of down the middle of his legs because I thought it would look cool. The only changes I made to his outfit were adding a little orange sweater underneath the coat and what the armband said, which I'll show at the end of the speed paint. So we'll worry about that when we'll cross that bridge when we get there. For his pose, I kept it simple, energetic, and I kept the little salute thing I've seen him do in a couple images. And now that the speed paint's over, we can go see what I've done to the Disassembly drones as a whole. Here's what the armband says. It's universal for all of them, except the name and the code will change based on who it is. So they could keep their expressive faces and use the idea I came up with. I changed the mouthpiece to a rubber material and gave them something similar to face muscles you'll see in a human. If I'm being honest, I feel a little bad for them. This looks really uncomfortable. This effect that I wanted to do was actually inspired by owls and some of the stuff from Sister Location. Owls can actually change their face shape, which I thought was super cool, so I added to the disassemblers. They can do that. And the Sister Location inspiration comes from them being able to open their faces like the Sister Location animatronics can. Although not many, I'd say next to none, probably of the workers would know this, but this is probably the most vulnerable the disassembly drones would get, considering you could literally just tear out this piece that I zoomed in on and it would shut them down. For obvious reasons, no one has tried this. I wouldn't either. This isn't the only scare factor I tried to add to them. As you can see on the screen, the little diagram I made. Something I also added was that their jaw can unhinge like snakes. I thought that'd be neat too. The last universal traits I have is that only the two bottom arms can man, the sword and the gun, and it's just those two arms. Of course, the top hands can turn into the claws, and that's just about it for them. V's another one of the characters I didn't feel I need to change too much when it came to the outfit. I was really fine with it. I just made it a dress instead, gave her a black turtleneck and shorts, and that's all I really felt needed to be done for her outfit. One of the things I really liked doing was emphasizing the fact that she can't really see that well. If you've watched the show, you know her vision's a little blurry, and I tried to emphasize that. I did that by making her screen appear cracked and adding colors that usually show up when stuff like a TV screen breaks, for example. For her pose, I kind of wanted to make it look like she was just walking about and looked uninterested, because she does kind of look like that in most of the scenes we see her in. But here's V, and we can move on to J. J's outfit definitely changes the most. That's not because I dislike it, but because it felt a little impractical for what she was doing, and that's not a problem. But I figured since she's serious about her job, she'd want to dress for it, so I gave her goggles, because she's obviously going to be flying around in the snow, going to be snowstorms, and almost a full-body suit, because, again, she's working in the snow. I figured she'd want to be dressed for the occasion, you know? The necklace is a little hand-me-down from Tessa, and I wanted her pose to look like she had just got back from her regular work. I didn't really want to change the worker drones too much, because I like them as they are. It's the solver drones that I had a lot of fun designing, so I'm gonna be really happy when we get to that piece. But this is about Uzi. So for her design, I kept most of her outfits. Instead, I changed the battery symbol to like a skull. I'm sorry it doesn't show up on the speed paint. I changed it to a skull because she's on her whole kill all humans type of spree. I even added a human skull on her beanie. I'm sorry if it's kind of hard to see. I did give her arm warmers in the same pattern as her little socks and like a choker almost, because I thought it looked cool, and she kind of gives off like emo vibes to me, so I tried to add more of that on her. Some people saw her as Sin, but I kind of like the emo Uzi idea a little more, so I wanted to keep that. I didn't give her the ability to like open her face like the rest of the disassembly drones can, because I came up with something much worse in my opinion. And that being like a second row of teeth kind of growing outside their mouth but near it. I thought it looked cool. I also thought it'd be pretty spooky. I wanted to do this because sometimes the absolute solver becomes like fleshy-ish. I have pictures on the screen because I'm not sure how to describe it. I redesigned the tail so it looked like it had its own version of nanite acid in it. I thought that would make it look a little cooler. I made the solver wings look a little more bat-like, and I gave them an extra pair of hands on them. And I kept the disassembly drone wings the same, or at least a little the same, because they were the bane of my existence to draw. Since I doubt that disassembly drones are actually flying with these wings, the little circles on them are actually what help them to fly. The wings themselves are more used like shields almost. For Sin's design, I made her dress and her hair a little longer. A piece of the dress is cut out though. I made those like the little sleeve start piece, ruffle thing. I don't know, man. A lot fluffier because I love fluffy things. And I'm pretty sure I made one of her legs longer than the other, and that's kind of why she stands at an angle. I thought it'd be neat to kind of corroborate the fact that she's kind of like broken in a sense. I accidentally made it a little too small, but on the cuff of her sleeve, there's a little pin that she gives N. She puts it on like his little pilot hat. It's a human skull with like disassembly drone wings coming out of it. I kept her design simple because I liked it that way. So when I got to the Eldritch horror part of her, I guess, I wanted to make it almost zombie-like, I guess would be a way to describe it. I know it has Jay's head, but I'll explain that in a minute. I wanted it to be made up of the original limbs it had, but also like human bones, because I thought that would be the creepy little detail that I wanted to add. Drawing the human bones was also horrible. It's not just human arms, it's also like rib cage that's around it that like it kind of grew over a bit, and the J head and Sin's body connect to it almost like two-headed snakes, which if you've seen, they're really cool, so I wanted to add that. But that's all of them. I'd love to do a part 2 or even use these designs because I do have an idea for murder drones that I'd like to expand upon. I think it'd be cool to make my own little murder drones series, kind of like everyone else has after this show ended. I'd love to work on it, and I'd love if other people loved to see it. But that's all I have right now, so goodbye!